That mixture will never work, Asher said, sitting in front of Alyssa. As the end of the year approached, he'd had multiple small conversations with Alyssa. He didn't know what kept him going. This was the first time, apart from his family and Damien, that he had been talking with anyone else this long. Asher turned the page and slid the book across the table. Look for this, Asher said, his eyes meeting Alyssa's. Okay. Alyssa responded as she accepted the book and his advice. At first, she resented conversing with Asher because she thought he was mocking her, but he would only correct her when he saw her doing something wrong. Their conversation never became personal or extended beyond the confines of the large, empty room filled with countless books. Occasionally, Alyssa would glance up to observe Asher. Why do you have those eyes? Alyssa wondered as her frustration grew. It constantly irked her that Asher had those lifeless eyes, just like hers. You have everything. Power, money, family. Thoughts like these kept returning in her head. Nobody hates you, nobody mocks you. You don't have to deal with a sickness like mine. Then why? Asher had everything Alyssa lacked and wanted, but despite that, his eyes appeared emotionless. The voices in her head, constantly repeating these words, led her to develop a slight resentment towards Asher. Her mental strength was deteriorating due to the environment at World Academy. Still, she continued to observe and converse with him. Alyssa channeled her mana with a bit of pain and went to get another book. She came back and sat. When she looked up, she saw Asher watching her with a light smile on his face. For the first time, he had smiled. So you can smile? Alyssa asked, marking the first time their conversation strayed from the books they were reading. Asher raised his eyebrows and tilted his head a bit. He touched his lips, realizing he was indeed smiling. Why? Asher muttered, confused as to why he had smiled. He had never found anything amusing before. In the grey world he inhabited, nothing had ever piqued his interest. He only behaved in a way that he deemed normal for someone of his status. Beneath his cold exterior, unlike others, resided a boy that was plagued with headaches and had the urge to destroy everything around him. His smile soon faded, and he looked back at Alyssa. His interest in Alyssa grew further. Neither of them knew what drew him to her, and it was the same for Alyssa. They were unaware of how his smile had surprised Alyssa, who had never seen him smile or show any emotion during their months of acquaintance. She returned her attention to the books she had brought to the table. As she flipped through the pages, she didn't notice that the voices in her head had stopped. Their interaction was indeed strange. Several weeks later, ads by Pub Future. You know who I am, right? Alyssa asked. Alyssa Astaria. Asher replied. Not that, my mother's family. Alyssa trailed off, looking at the book in front of her. Garcia. Asher supplied. Then why? Alyssa began to ask something but stopped herself. I'll go now, she announced, channeling her mana to stand, and Asher watched as she left the room. It wasn't that she didn't want to hear Asher's answer, but rather she was afraid of it. All this time, she had subconsciously come to appreciate these small moments with Asher, but she was scared that if she asked the question, the answer might disappoint her. It was a strange feeling for this lonely girl, but in a world filled with hatred, these moments with Asher were her only peaceful refuge. The scene changed, and Asher found himself standing in front of many students. The teams have been formed. This is AC rank dungeon, so I want you to try and clear it as much as you can, Professor Elser announced, surveying the randomly formed teams for this joint dungeon class between the 5 classes. The teams were comprised of the top 60 students from the first year. Asher looked around, noticing Emilia, Kevin, and Elena standing beside him. I will lead, Kevin said, staring at Asher. Contemporary romance. Okay, Asher responded, turning his head and ignoring Kevin. His eyes scanned the crowd for Alyssa, noting which team she was in. Amelia noticed Asher's search. You're with Amelia, Damien approached, tapping Asher's shoulder. What's your group? He asked, and Damien pointed to a spot where Matthew, Alyssa, and Rhea were gathered. Asher looked at Alyssa, who was using her mana to hover and stand on her own. She will run out of mana, Asher thought. His mana sensitivity had been improving daily due to his bloodline ability. These days, Asher found himself questioning his actions and thoughts that revolved around Alyssa. I want you to make sure she doesn't get hurt, Asher told Damien, pointing at Damien's group. You mean Rhea Adler? Damien asked quietly. Asher shook his head. That girl. Damien was a bit surprised, but he didn't draw anyone's attention. If you want, I can, Damien replied. It was the first time Asher had asked him for help. Why is he getting involved with the Garcia girl? Damien pondered. He didn't know why, but he agreed to Asher's request nonetheless. Turning, Damien looked at Amelia, who was chatting with Kevin and Elena, and a strange look crossed his face. I'll go now, Damien said, swiftly heading towards his group. Asher didn't miss the look on Damien's face. But at the moment, instead of focusing on others, he was busy trying to figure out why he was so interested in Alyssa. Shortly after, Asher was inside the dungeon. This time, he wasn't eager to hunt monsters. Being with Alyssa had taught him to calm himself significantly. Whatever drove him towards madness, it calmed when he was around Alyssa, and the symptoms kept reducing the more time he spent with her. One conclusion Asher drew was that his interest in Alyssa stemmed from the fact that she alleviated his strange illness that only he knew about. Asher moved with Kevin, who was leading the group. Their formation was arranged so that Asher handled the rear while Elena and Amelia were in the middle. We'll rest for now, Kevin announced, looking around at the bodies of various monsters that littered the area. They had been fighting for hours straight, with most of the creatures killed by Kevin, supported by Amelia and Elena's magic. They erected small tents they had been given and created a resting spot. Kevin sat down with Amelia and Elena. Asher observed them and their interactions around him. He could tell that Amelia felt a bit awkward around him. Both Elena and Kevin refrained from engaging him in conversation, a situation he didn't mind at all. This time, his madness was subdued due to Alyssa's presence, but before he met her, he wasn't sure he could maintain his sanity around others. This was why he avoided Amelia after his first realization of his internal madness. One of us has to remain on guard duty to ensure monsters don't come too near, Elena pointed out. Oh, I can, Amelia began to volunteer, but Kevin interrupted her. No, you and Elena are crucial members of the team. It'll have to be either me or him, Kevin said, looking at Asher. I'll go. Asher stood up, understanding the direction the conversation was taking. Amelia wore an awkward expression, her relationship with Asher having remained uneasy since the party incident. Okay, we can switch between us two after 12 hours, Kevin proposed, watching as Asher headed deeper into the dungeon. Phew, now he's gone, Elena sighed in relief. I wouldn't have felt comfortable around him without you, Elena confided in Kevin. I can understand how you feel about him. I mean, look at his eyes, she said to Amelia. It was fine, Amelia responded. You don't have to bear all this alone. We're friends, after all, Kevin said with a smile on his face. You are a ranker and he's not. This clearly shows the talent gap between you two, Kevin asserted. Elena observed Kevin and Amelia's expressions closely, occasionally joining the conversation. While they were chatting, Asher was advancing deeper into the dungeon. Somebody's here, Asher thought, crouching down at the sight of some human food in the dungeon. Could it be the instructor? He pondered, but quickly dismissed that possibility. Mana spread, Asher thought, extending his mana throughout the dungeon, detecting a large amount of mana concentrated in one area. What is that? Asher frowned, unsheathing the black blade he had obtained from the auction. He hadn't sensed any human presence yet, but he could feel an enormous amount of mana in one place inside the dungeon. ********. While Asher was reliving his memories, the snake figure materialized once again, its iris of blood red hue locked onto Asher. Shadow-like energy floated towards Asher as the snake began to coil around his neck. System is blocking Rune of Airden, reducing the negative effect. This notification hovered around Asher, who was unaware of it. Opening square bracket question mark exclamation mark question mark. Is experiencing the negative memories instead of host. The peculiar beast moved its head to face Asher, who sat with his eyes closed. Why do you hate this world? The snake queried in a strange language, continuing to delve into Asher's memories. Opening square bracket question mark exclamation mark question mark single quote. S bond is increasing. Strangely, the beast found its existence similar to Asher's. Asher was spreading his mana sense, and he could now clearly feel the presence of many D-rank monsters grouped together. I should go back, Asher decided, turning around. Contemporary romance. Asher had just reached D rank, while Kevin was a D rank who was nearing the peak of D rank in his first years. Both Amelia and Elena were D rank hunters as well. Asher returned and saw the three of them chatting. But their smiles faded away when they saw Asher approaching. Why did you come back so soon? Elena asked, frowning. Asher's emotionless eyes observed the three of them. Many monsters are grouped together ahead, and it doesn't look natural at all, Asher said. What's unnatural about it? Kevin asked. It doesn't make sense for these monsters to stay in a huge group normally, Asher replied, remembering reading about the traits of these monsters. It seems to me like you're just afraid of going inside the dungeon, Elena chuckled. Aren't you the heir of the Greville family? She asked Asher. Asher's emotionless eyes stared back at the three of them. Do whatever you want, Asher turned and started walking away. Wait, Amelia stood up, calling Asher back. She was about to tell Elena to not take it too far. Let him go. He'll come back soon when he realizes the difference in our strengths. Kevin stopped her, watching Asher disappear deeper into the dungeon. I will go after him, Amelia decided, standing to follow Asher. Kevin grew frustrated, seeing Amelia chase after Asher. He had thought she didn't like Asher at all. Wait, then I will come with you. Kevin rose abruptly, halting Amelia. Elena, are you coming? Kevin asked. Why not? If she wants to help him, I don't mind. Elena stood and joined Amelia. Amelia smiled faintly, appreciative of their help. She looked in the direction Asher had gone. But he had disappeared long ago. Asher was currently dashing towards the spot where he had spotted signs of people inside the dungeon. There were multiple paths in the dungeon, and he had chosen the one away from the grouped monsters. But he soon stopped when he sensed the presence of people ahead. Why are these people inside the dungeon? Asher thought, observing two second-year students standing before him. Judging by their mana, they were all D-ranked hunters. Will this even work? One of them asked nervously. Shush, they just need to kill her, the other replied. But Asher sensed something was wrong with their mana, something felt off. And the artifact they were holding. Nobody will know it was us who did it. Yeah, they repeated these words. They seemed almost insane. As Asher moved, his foot stepped on a stone, drawing the attention of the pair, who saw a young man standing before them. Asher Greville. Wait, did he hear us? One of them exclaimed. Who are you guys? Asher asked, walking towards them with his crimson-red eyes staring at them. Crimson, kill Crimson, one of them muttered to himself. Asher noticed something odd about their behavior. Yeah, let's kill him, he's seen our faces anyway, one of them declared, staring at his partner. They turned to face Asher, brandishing their weapons. The next second, Asher saw two D-rank hunters charging towards him. Asher quickly backstepped, dodging the first attack with ease. Both were intent on killing him. Severe slash, Asher muttered, lowering his body as his sword passed through one of the students. He quickly dispatched the other. I felt nothing, Asher observed, standing over the bodies of two dead humans. At that moment, he noticed that his inner turmoil had quieted as he killed the pair. This was the first time in his life he had killed someone, but he didn't feel any emotion. The moment he sensed their murderous intent, his body moved, and he killed them. Both were only one minor rank above Asher, but their techniques were flawed. The strangest thing, though, was their behavior and movements. They were too sloppy for second-year students at World Academy. Their thoughts and movements seemed out of sync. Boom! The sound of an explosion caught Asher's attention, and he cast his mana sense in the direction of the noise. He quickly moved toward the source and arrived just in time to see Kevin battling some masked people. There were 5 masked men. "You will not leave," one of them shouted, attacking Amelia. Amelia was caught off guard, about to raise her dagger to block when suddenly she saw a black blade pierce the head of the man attacking her. The man died instantly, and Amelia turned to look at Asher. "Why you killed him?" Amelia stammered, looking at Asher with a strange expression. Asher ignored Amelia's reaction and moved towards the other masked men. He saw that Kevin was prolonging the fight, having no intention to kill the attackers. But Asher, knowing about the massive group of monsters that would soon be attracted by the commotion, knew that they could not drag this fight out any longer. "Kill them, you are a monster anyway," Asher's consciousness whispered as he recalled these memories. His memories shifted, showing him standing in front of a girl with long black hair and crimson red eyes. "Just turn yourself in," Amelia said, looking at Asher. "Is this what you came here for?" Asher asked, looking at Amelia. Tears welled in her eyes. "Kevin told me that he will make sure your punishment isn't too severe," she said, looking at Asher. "Punishment? Did those guys send you here?" Asher asked with a strange smirk on his face. "How can you laugh right now?" Amelia asked, unable to understand his calm demeanor. "Mom, Dad, everyone died because of you," Amelia shouted at him. Asher's indifferent eyes met Amelia's. "Just for that girl, what did you even see in that ugly?" Amelia began, but Asher was in front of her in an instant. A heavy killing intent began to radiate from him, and Amelia flinched, stepping back. But he stopped as a memory flashed in his mind. "Can you protect Amelia?" "It seems I can't," Damien asked with a smile, his eyes growing dull. "Try to treat her better," Damien said, closing his eyes. It was Damien's last request, and Asher refrained from attacking Amelia. "Go away, and tell your friends, next time I see their faces, I will kill them," his eyes bore into Amelia's. "Till then, don't get in my way," Asher said, turning as a masked man appeared in front of them. Amelia didn't notice, but behind the mask, another pair of crimson red eyes were staring at her. Unlike Asher's indifferent gaze, his eyes held only contempt when he looked at her. They both disappeared from that place just as Amelia felt the presence of multiple SS rank hunters all around her. "What?" She looked around in confusion as a beautiful woman with blonde hair and blue eyes appeared in front of her. "Were you all right, Amelia?" Elena asked. "What is this?" "I only told you because I trusted you wouldn't reveal," Amelia started, but Elena shook her head. "I will explain everything to you. Trust me." Elena dodged her question as an SS rank hunter approached her. "Lady Elena, they used a teleportation artifact, but we are tracing them," he said with a respectful tone. "Keep searching. Make sure he is apprehended," Elena instructed, turning back to Amelia. "Kevin didn't know about this. I only informed the authorities because I was worried about you, Amelia," Elena said, a worried smile on her face. "That man is not your family. He even used Damien as a," Elena started, but noticed Amelia clenching her fist. "Stop. I need a moment alone," Amelia said, turning to leave. Elena watched as Amelia stepped outside. "It seems he noticed our trap," Elena said, a frustrated look on her face. Meanwhile, outside, "I will not forgive you," Amelia wiped a tear from her eye, looking up at the empty night sky. Mana core increased to C rank. Rune of Aearden has increased from rank D to rank C. Asher, who had been immersed in reliving countless memories, slowly opened his eyes. The strange beast had disappeared long before he woke, leaving no trace of anything unusual. He stood and felt his strength had indeed increased significantly. But having revisited his memories so closely, his indifferent eyes surveyed the area around him. I should stay here for now, Asher told himself. He sat down again, back against the wall, and closed his eyes. He was not confident in controlling his bloodlust when faced with certain people, so he decided it was better to remain alone in this room until he felt able to restrain himself. He took out the artifact that he had stolen during the recent heist. So, it was all because of this artifact, huh? Asher said, opening his eyes to examine the artifact. Asher could still feel the memories of his previous life flashing before him as he stared at the artifact in his hand. He killed them, Elena told Elsa, who was calming her down. What happened? Tell us exactly, Elsa, who had entered the dungeon, saw the scene before her. Many dead masked men were lying on the floor, and many burnt bodies of the D-rank monsters could be seen. But most importantly, a young boy with blood all over his armor stood beside the wall with a black blade in his hands. We were attacked by these people, Kevin told Elsa. He explained what had happened to them and how Asher had joined them and killed them all. As Kevin had pressed the emergency button the moment they were attacked, Elsa arrived shortly after with other staff members. It's fine. Please go back. We need to investigate what happened here, Elsa told everyone to leave except for Asher. Can you tell us what happened here? She walked up to Asher, who casually looked at her. His hands are not shaking, Elsa noticed Asher's body language. She could see that there was no remorse, guilt, or fear, despite him killing almost all the people present there. It was good judgment to kill them, seeing that they were prepared to die here, Elsa said, looking around at the headless corpses all around them. The moment they died, their heads exploded due to some sort of runic device that was implanted in their bodies. The scene changed, and Asher stood before the faculty council, where even Farnas and Xander were present, contemporary romance. So, you are telling us you killed those two senior year students that allowed the intruders to enter the dungeon? One of the professors asked. Yes, Asher replied, his eyes emotionless. You could have spared one of them, we could have known who the attacker was. Professor Irwin shouted. Asher knew Irwin, who was the sword instructor responsible for the first-year students, including him. Professor Irwin, don't cross the lines, Xander said as he looked at Irwin. You are talking to the heir of an elite family. Do you think he should have spared someone when his own life was in danger? Xander asked as all the faces turned towards him. But, I apologize, I got too emotional, Irwin apologized and sat back down. Student Asher Greville, you can leave now, Xander announced, and Farnas didn't interfere in his decision. Asher turned and left the room. I don't know what everyone else thinks, but this is a major breach in the security of World Academy, Xander said. Enough, Xander, Farnas finally spoke. I will handle this matter. Farnas looked at Xander, who was frowning at him. And this was how rumors about Asher being a ruthless killer started circulating inside the World Academy. Ads by Pub Future. The incident was framed as Asher killing people that Kevin, Elena, and Emilia had already cornered. But nobody knew who was behind this incident, as all the people involved in the attack were dead. And most of them were killed by Asher. It was all because of this, huh? Asher said, looking at the card-shaped artifact in front of him. It was a strange metallic card with a single eye-shaped gem in the middle. Eye of Pretender. Rank SS. Description. Held by the false rulers, it was used to fuel the emotions of those it was used against, but its root remained impure. Pipe. Ability. Instigate negative emotions of a person against someone or around certain words. Limitations. Blood of the person is required to activate the artifact. Limitations. The effect dulls if the intelligence of the user is too high. Limitations. Can only be used for up to 20 people. False artifact. This artifact will remain mana-less until it is used and activated first. This was a hypnotic artifact that was worn by Osbert Tervian in the upcoming Kalvaz Gala. Although it could not control the person, it was capable of amplifying negative emotions like hatred, fear, etc. But this time, it would never fall into the hands of Osbert Tervian. Up to 20. That's why he stopped using it, Asher muttered. If anyone was standing beside Asher at this moment, they would feel the chilling killing intent that was emanating from him. Asher closed his eyes, sitting there as the day changed. He could feel his inner madness returning as he grew stronger. But it seemed like his intelligence stat was still helping him. Ward it off. Night came, and Asher finally opened his eyes, taking a deep breath. Status, Asher said, wanting to check something. Fate Devourer System. Name, Asher von Raven-Greville. Level 30, EXP 0, 30,000. Bloodline, Devil's Absorption Rank SSS. Cursed, Curse of Fate, active. Body Constitution, Mana Core Rank C. Attributes. Strength, 118 plus 38 right pointing arrow 156. Agility, 110 plus 35 right pointing arrow 145. Endurance, 105 plus 25 right pointing arrow 130. Intelligence, 180 right pointing arrow 180. Mana, 119 plus 30 right pointing arrow 149. Stamina, 99 plus 31 right pointing arrow 130. Charm, 65 plus 5 right pointing arrow 70. Fate, 10,230. AP, 60, SP, 32. Skills, Time Dilation, Rank S, LVL1, Absorption, Rank S, LVL1, Mana Flow, Rank A, Mana Circulation, Rank A, Rune of Airden, Rank D, Node Art Rank SSS, Aura Force Passive Skill, Mana Conceal. Node Art, Mere Steps, Swift Strike, Phantom Strike. Beast, Unnamed, Level 1. Mastery, Node Art, Novice, minus 27%, Magic, Novice, minus 84%, Rune Art, Fundamental, minus 80%. His stats had increased significantly, with his strength being the highest after intelligence. His mana was still low, but it would grow much more easily as the newly formed mana rings would easily hold the mana that would slowly accumulate in his mana core. 145, Asher noticed his agility stat and started contemplating it. Previously when he fought Louis, he could see that his speed matched Louis's, and Louis was an S+ rank hunter. This meant that his agility, which should have been equal to 550, was comparable to an S+ rank hunter. He could see that his stats right now were of a C rank hunter, but he was more powerful than others as almost all his stats crossed the threshold of C rank, which was around 130 according to Asher's estimations. So B rank would be at 190 to 200 then, and next will be 270 to 300, and S rank would be around 420, Asher thought. He was basing these stats on comparing himself to his previous life and Louis Rothschild. It might not have been accurate for an average hunter, but Louis was a fairly talented individual, so he was above other S+ rank hunters. But Asher didn't account for such errors. His opponents were even more talented and powerful than Louis. Asher closed his status. Is the beast ready? Asher asked, seeing a notification in front of him. There was one thing Asher needed to check again. It was the feeling he got when he saw the beast, similar to but different from what he experienced when he first met Alyssa. Beast materialization ready. Calibrating levels. Telepathic link formed. Asher saw multiple notifications before him as he saw the strange beast form once again in front of him. The blood-red iris stared at him once again. What, you? The strange beast spoke as it stared at two indifferent eyes that were staring at it. Asher could hear broken words coming from the snake, but he heard them inside his head. Moments before Asher awoke from the rune of Airden, the beast continued to stare at him. However, his body still required rest, and Asher fell asleep shortly after showering. Red energy started to emanate from the beast. Opening square bracket question mark exclamation mark question mark is restricted from using its full powers. Opening square bracket question mark exclamation mark question mark is soul linked to the host. The snake stared as purple runes resembling shackles appeared beneath the shadow-like energy. The snake turned as it sensed a powerful life force rivaling its own existence. Though it was sealed deep within, it could sense the force, just as the powerful entity sensed it. Opening square bracket question mark exclamation mark question mark used level 100 authority. The shackles around the beast loosened as it stared at Asher. So, he is my master, it spoke in a strange language. Opening square bracket question mark exclamation mark question mark is using its last power before full restriction. Contemporary. Romance. Are you sure you want to proceed? Closing square bracket. A mark appeared on Asher's back as the shackles around the beast grew stronger and tighter. Sealing. S memories until the host reaches level 100. Opening square bracket question mark exclamation mark question mark is separating itself from the system. Opening square bracket question mark exclamation mark question mark is reducing itself to level 1. I shall acknowledge you for now. The beast spoke in a strange language as it disappeared, transforming into a strange, shadow-like energy that returned to his arm. You can talk. Asher stared at the strange snake before him. He had never encountered a monster intelligent enough to communicate with other beings. Yet, oddly, he heard the snake's words in his mind, despite it not speaking aloud. Host can communicate with it as it was formed by the system. Unlike normal beasts, it can communicate with the host. While Asher read these notifications, he noticed the snake also turn its head to examine them. Can you read them? Asher asked the snake. I can. The beast responded to Asher through telepathy. It is possible because the beast is part of the system. The system informed Asher. Asher reached out to touch the beast, hoping to confirm something. But he felt nothing when his hand contacted the shadow-like energy surrounding the beast. It was as if his sense of touch had disappeared. The beast has its own abilities, and that is one of them. What exactly are you? Asher asked the beast, turning to face it. Ads by Pub Future. His killing intent began to seep out, and the snake sensed it, but it stared back at Asher without showing any fear. Asher amplified his killing intent, focusing on the beast, but received no response. Don't. No. Asher heard the telepathic voice of the snake. The voice was similar to a boy's but didn't sound like human speech. Yet, despite the odd language, Asher understood it. Host can understand the language due to the telepathic connection between the host and the beast. What am I? The snake questioned Asher. What would you like to name the beast? Asher saw the notification soon after hearing the snake's question. Riffer, Asher said after considering for a few seconds. Riffer, he heard the snake's voice again. Riffer, level 1, species, serpent, abilities, locked, passive, perfect conceal. Asher saw the details about the snake, but unlike his, most of its abilities were locked. So, how will you level up? Asher asked the system. Hungry. Instead of the system, Asher heard Riffer's voice. Unlike the host, Riffer will need to consume other beings, but his consumption has its limits. What limits? Asher asked. He was strangely invested in the beast that he had just encountered. It was the first time he had met an entity that had not reacted to his killing intent. Mana gems. Only such a high-potency source of energy will help him level up. It can level up from defeating and consuming monster corpses, but only if they contain mana gems in their bodies. Asher stared back at the snake, which continued to stare at him. How do I unsummon it? Asher asked. The host can simply think the instruction in your head and try to communicate it with the bonded beast. Go back, Asher thought, and he watched the serpent disappear. Shadow energy flooded back to his arm, forming a snake tattoo, which quickly vanished without a trace. Is that his ability? Asher asked the system. Yes, perfect conceal allows it to completely hide its existence until the host wishes for it to reappear. The host will need to properly nurture the beast for it to reveal its full potential. Where does it come from? Asher asked. Not enough authority. Level 90 authority required. It was the next change that occurred in the system. And Asher noticed it. Why was I chosen as your host? Asher asked. Level 80 authority required. Who is the goddess of time? Asher asked. Level 80 authority required. So this beast is even more intriguing than the goddess of time, whoever she may be, Asher mused. Level 40, wasn't it? Asher recalled that the first authority would open at level 40. Depending on the host's knowledge, the authority may change. Asher saw another notification, but it was currently irrelevant to him. Most of the questions he wanted answers to pertained to topics he knew little about. But there was one thing that he did know. Do you know about the Black Dungeons? Asher asked the system. Level 40 authority required. Do you know why dungeons appeared? Asher asked a question that many sought answers to. The system doesn't know about it. No information regarding this was added to the system. Asher stood up and left the meditation room, intending to take a shower before doing anything else. While Asher had just reached C rank, Alyssa was struggling to reach D rank. Having recently achieved D rank, she was eager to train further. This is not enough, Alyssa murmured, looking into the mirror. She didn't wear her mask in her room, allowing her to see her unscarred face. It's not enough to kill them, she said, touching the mirror as her reflection reminded her of her mother. Now that her body had healed, she could perceive mana more clearly. Although her performance during the first awakening was unremarkable, her current speed matched Asher's, who used his abnormal bloodline ability. In the past, her mana meridians were irreparably damaged. However, with the help of the SSS rank elixir, she had completely recovered, and for the first time in her life, she could use mana without further harming her body. The following morning, Asher was practicing his sword art. He stopped when he received a notification from Eric, the son of his head butler, Stephen. Less than Eric, young master, strange rumors about you are spreading among the first and second year students greater than. Asher read the message and instantly knew who was responsible. He responded to Eric's message, instructing him to continue reporting such occurrences. The first class on Space Element was happening today, and Asher planned to attend it. The first class was set to begin, so apart from Alyssa, only a few other students curious about the Space Element were expected to attend. Asher left the 10th floor and arrived in the lobby room, which was empty. He exited the ranker's dorm and headed towards the Mage Arts block. The class will begin an hour from now. However, there was another place he wanted to visit before going to class. He was heading towards the free area, where most first-year students would roam before and after their classes. It was a vast area filled with special flowers, and the environment had been designed to help students relax. But it was also famous for another reason. Since this area was only meant for students, it had become the perfect place for certain people. Didn't I tell you that I need you to collect GP from your friends? A green-haired boy demanded, his hands gripping the hair of the first-year boy he was talking to. But they refused. It's not my fault, the first-year boy tried to speak, but Gavin punched him in the face. Are my words a joke to you? Gavin started digging his nails into the arm of the first-year student, causing blood to seep out. Are you done with him? Jack, standing beside Gavin, asked. "Oh, you disturbed my flow." Gavin turned and pouted at Jack, contemporary romance. "This bastard is even more sadistic than me," Jack thought, looking at the green-haired boy. For now, Jack ensured that no one came near this area. "Leon didn't tell you to do all this." Jack was growing impatient with Gavin and his habits. Leonard had only told them to ensure that most first years, especially those around rank 500 to 600, were under their control. Most of their targets were students from weak families. Leonard aimed to ensure that most first-year students fell under his control. But he made sure to only use people like Jack, Gavin, and Alan for such work. It was to ensure that none of the students even thought of rebelling against them. They chose their targets carefully, and most of those students were those without a powerful or influential background. Most of these students were trying to form social connections and gain power, so they never reported the bullying as it hadn't gone too far until now. But currently, Gavin's habit of hurting others was making things a bit problematic for Jack. "It's enough. Stop now." Jack grabbed Gavin's hand as he looked at the first-year student. "And you, if you want a good life in an outside-of-world academy, do what you are told." Jack flared his mana to pressure him. All right," the student immediately replied. "Wait, one more thing? I almost forgot." Gavin turned, crouched, and smiled at the first-year boy. What?" The first-year stuttered, scared that Gavin would harm him again. "Tell your friends to spread rumors about a certain person," Gavin whispered. "Asher Greville bullies people in your class." He remembered that this guy was in class 1B. "But what? Did you not understand what I'm saying?" Gavin asked with a sad look on his face. "Ads by Pub Future. Sigh. Should I re-educate you again?" Gavin gave him a worried look. "No, I will do it. Yeah, I will do it," the first-year student reassured Gavin. A bit far from there, Asher was standing, and using his mana sense, he could see Gavin and Jack with another student in an area hidden from plain sight. "Hey, don't take things too far. It will be troublesome for us." Jack continued speaking as they left the secluded area. Asher, standing in another sector, sensed them leave. "Only this much," Asher muttered as he turned back. Asher remembered Gavin Neville, who would become a major supporter of the Blood faction. Even outside the World Academy, the Neville family was allied with the Alistairs and Osbert Tervian. So it was no surprise that Gavin had become a supporter of Leonard. He remembered that Gavin had an even more twisted personality than he currently displayed, but he never showed it to others. Knowing that he came from an elite family, Gavin always ensured he never left evidence that could taint his image. What Gavin was doing right now could be considered bullying, but he was not breaking any rules inside the World Academy. Gavin never used mana to hurt others. Instead, he threatened them so they wouldn't use their mana to protect themselves. And none of the students could prove that Gavin had bullied them, as he always isolated the targets he bullied. The first-year student got up and kicked the ground. He was the same student who had called out Alyssa on the first day of class and was humiliated in front of everyone. Should I really do this? He was uncertain whether to follow the orders he had been given or not. Messing with an elite family was tantamount to declaring to the world that you didn't want to live anymore. As Asher returned to class, he could hear other students talking about him. His senses had increased, so he could hear them whispering about the rumors circulating about him. Something similar happened in his previous life, but during the dungeon invasion incident. This time, rumors were still mild as nothing major had happened, and most people assumed that Asher didn't have a great personality due to his cold demeanor. But people were still talking about him. Many such people in the World Academy engaged in similar activities like bullying. Still, unlike them, Asher was a renowned personality who was rank 1 and was already known as the greatest talent of his generation. The more influential or famous someone was, the more their demise and downfall were anticipated. Although Leonard had seen enough to guess that Asher was not one to be affected by such things, he wanted to see if it truly was the case or not. But even in his previous and current life, Asher didn't care about what others thought about him. "Keep your attention on me," Asher said as he arrived in the space element class. He sat down in one corner of the class, arriving early. Asher kept tapping the desk in front of him. The next big event was the Kalwas Gala, which was meant to happen soon. The place where all the elite families gathered, and some of the SSS rank hunters would attend as well. But Asher's actions had caused a delay, and the Kalwas Gala would be postponed until the Seven Heads fixed another date. Time passed as the space element class was about to begin. The first one to enter the class was Alyssa, who was using her wheelchair. She entered the class, and her eyes landed on Asher. But she didn't stare at him for too long. Instead, she took a seat far from Asher. Nobody could guess that they were acquainted with each other from how they acted. Asher's indifferent eyes drifted toward Alyssa for a moment, but he soon removed his gaze as he saw a few other students entering the class. All the students took their seats and avoided both Alyssa and Asher for two different reasons. Soon, a professor entered the room, and with him, the security team of World Academy also entered the class. "Hello, I am Adam Rivas, and I will be your professor for the space element," the professor introduced himself as his eyes quickly scanned the students in the class. "Oh, and these here are the special hunters that work for the World Academy," Adam spoke with a wide smile on his face. Asher looked at Adam Rivas, meeting him for the first time. "They will be present here for the whole lecture," Adam said with a smile. His words convinced the other students, but some, including Asher, knew the real reason. "And if you can't guess why they are here, I can say you aren't meant to learn about the space element." Adam's face turned serious immediately. Those hunters were not here to observe the class but to handle Adam in case he went mad or got out of control during his lecture. His change in emotion made the security team a bit wary. All of them were S-rank hunters, so they could react easily if Adam tried anything unusual. Adam looked at the first-year student before him, his eyes finally landing on Asher Greville. "Wow, why is the famous heir of the Greville family in my class?" Adam asked Asher. "Aren't you aware of the consequences of learning the space element?" he questioned. "I am," Asher replied, his indifferent eyes fixed on Adam. Interesting," Adam murmured to himself. "Well, for those who don't know, learning the space element essentially means decreasing your lifespan," Adam stated, examining the students' reactions. His words impacted all the students except for Alyssa and Asher. "Many, including me, consider the space element the strongest element," Adam declared as he extracted a pen from his storage ring. "It involves tampering with the law of space that pervades everything around us," Adam explained, a peculiar violet energy materializing before him. "And leveraging that space to affect changes," he demonstrated, passing the pen through the violet energy where it reappeared in his left hand. "Only those endowed with an affinity for this element can even contemplate learning it," Adam affirmed as one student looked confused. "You," Adam pointed at the student. "If you want to ask something, then ask," Adam instructed, frowning at the student. His sudden action caused the student to hesitate momentarily. You just mentioned that it decreases your lifespan. So why would anyone want to learn it then?" the student questioned. "Good question. The answer is simple," Adam responded, a smile gracing his face. "Who wouldn't want to explore the strongest element, even if it might kill you?" Adam grinned. Asher studied Adam, aware that most individuals who learned about the space element behaved similarly. Their emotions were exceptionally unstable, and their faith in their abilities made them impossible to deter midway. "And how do you think the world would have functioned without teleportation gates?" Adam queried. "A space mage assisted in that regard. Even though this element may harm its wielder, it remains fascinating, regardless of what you might think," Adam spoke, passion resonating in his voice. Ads by Pub Future. Now let's talk about dungeons. Adam tapped the screen behind him, and a blue dungeon gate materialized. This is a dungeon gate, but according to many theories, dungeons are nothing but a more advanced form of spatial magic, Adam posited. Many, including me, believe that dungeons represent what we could achieve through spatial magic if someone could learn it like other elements, Adam conveyed. But sadly, we are not here to learn about such things, he cut himself short. My job is simply to caution you all that learning the space element isn't for everyone, Adam clarified. It's a known fact that the more space element magic you use, the more it will harm your mentality and physical well-being, he elaborated. The World Academy will teach you up to Tier 2 spells. Tier 3 spells are considered forbidden to use unless you are willing to risk your life, Adam stated as a student raised his hand. Professor, have you ever used a Tier 3 space element spell? A girl asked. No, I am a space element researcher, not a user, Adam responded. That's one of the reasons I am qualified to teach at the World Academy, Adam explained. Most space element users work under the supervision of the Mage Association. So even though it's a dangerous element, we still have many space element users who are alive. However, most don't survive past the age of 30, Adam conveyed. Let's examine one of the major side effects of using space magic, Adam tapped on his desk. Unstable emotions, basically people like me. Most of these symptoms can be observed early in life if you have a strong affinity for the space element, Adam shared. And mental weakness. This appears when a person uses space magic, severe headaches, hallucinations, etc. Adam's words discouraged most students from pursuing the space element. Well, if you're lucky, and you have the subset element, like gravity, those side effects will diminish substantially, Adam directed at Alyssa. However, even then, you'll still experience them, as all of us do, Adam stated, but Asher knew that wasn't accurate. He was confident that he could manage the mental strain that came with space magic due to his high intelligence stat. Adam continued explaining other concepts as he produced a book. This is the Tier 1 spell, Blink. In this book, I have detailed all the inner workings of the spell and how to perform it. Adam elaborated. This will be the only spell that we will teach you. If you wish to learn more, use the Great Library, Adam announced. The World Academy prohibited students from delving deeper into the space element. However, they could still read books from various scholars throughout history if they were adamant about it. Unlike other elements, Adam was not allowed to freely teach about the space element. Adam snapped his fingers, causing books to appear before each student. This is Blink. It uses objects for small-scale teleportation. Try to understand the basics of it, Adam instructed. And for Miss Alyssa Astaria, you can study the books on gravity magic to learn more about your advanced element. Until then, work on the Blink spell, Adam recommended, directing his attention to Alyssa. Her advanced element was an extremely rare one, so not many people knew spells about it. The only way to learn was to get permission from your professor of that element and access the books inside the Great Library. This class will meet once a month, and most of the time, we will only discuss the spell, Adam concluded the class as his eyes rested on Asher Greville. Is he faking his affinity? Adam pondered why someone as indifferent and expressionless as Asher would possess a space affinity. Ultimately, he assumed that Asher only had a slight affinity for the space element. Asher studied the spell as he turned the pages, examining various factors that needed to be addressed before someone could perform space magic. Sensing space, Asher recalled the first step Adam had explained. Visualizing and incorporating the space into your spell was a confusing concept. It was impossible to accomplish unless you had an affinity for the space element. Asher closed his eyes as he tried to sense the space element from the mana that was present all around them. It was a faint feeling, but he could sense it. Rune of Aearden is assisting the host. Magic mastery is increasing. Asher kept chasing that faint violet light that appeared all around him, but it was too vague for him to actually feel it. Magic Master increased to 95%. But Asher stopped as he lost that feeling. The result was astoundingly fast. Asher had managed to sense the spatial energy that took others months. But, even for Alyssa, it took months before she could sense the spatial element that aided her gravity control. Contemporary romance. It took her years to master that one spell, a feat she achieved on her own. However, Adam only taught the spell as a Tier 1 spell. The Tier 2 blink that Asher wanted to learn allowed short teleportations within your field of vision. This spell was incredibly useful, augmenting his combat ability. Asher opened his eyes and surveyed his surroundings. Alyssa was the only other person in the room. Alyssa was seated in her wheelchair. "I want to spar with you," Alyssa said, looking at Asher. Asher's indifferent eyes met Alyssa's gaze. "You will lose," Asher replied. "Doesn't matter. I want to test my new spells," Alyssa responded. "Meet me on my floor," Asher stated, to which Alyssa nodded in agreement. In her 8th floor residence, which belonged to the rank 3 student, Alyssa wore the ring-type artifact they found in the C-rank dungeon after Asher defeated the C-rank boss. There was a reason she had requested a spa, one of them being her inability to fully exert herself in front of others. Asher had told her not to reveal that she was fully cured, and she also understood that doing so would not be beneficial to her. Even though she had 2 powerful advance elements, one would eventually lead to her death. Given that she consistently used gravity magic and her frail health, it was evident she was not destined to live long. Nobody approached her because everyone assumed that Alyssa couldn't maintain her rank for an extended period. This prevented her from practicing with others, as doing so would expose her true strength. Asher was standing in the training facility present on the 10th floor of the Ranker's dorm. He was waiting for Alyssa, who wanted to spar with him. Alyssa arrived after a few more minutes as Asher was swinging his sword. Then, Asher received a notification that a guest had requested entry to the room. After clicking on his ID bracelet, the elevator opened, and Alyssa ascended to the topmost floor that belonged to rank 1. Asher proceeded to the lobby and saw Alyssa waiting at the entrance. "Come this way," Asher said, and Alyssa followed him into the training facility. Upon entering the training facility, Alyssa removed her mask, revealing her facial features again. Her previously lifeless pink hair transformed into a vibrant cherry blossom pink, and her eyes turned a light shade of pink. "I am ready," Alyssa announced, looking at Asher. "You can go all out on me," Asher replied, revealing his mana. C rank. Alyssa was both surprised and shocked. Achieving AC rank at this age was astounding, considering that even those considered prodigies were still striving to reach D rank. "I was not going to go all out, but," Alyssa materialized 2 ice daggers around her. And Asher unsheathed the black blade he wielded. If he was sparring with Damien, he wouldn't have used an actual weapon, but doing so with Alyssa was different. He knew her current goal was revenge, but she also realized she wasn't ready for it. However, there was another reason she requested the spa. "I will confirm it this time," Alyssa told herself. She threw the dagger toward Asher, but they changed the trajectory as the daggers got affected by her gravity magic. Adds by Pub Future. Clang clang. Asher blocked both daggers and destroyed them as his aura covered his blade slightly. Ice spears. Multiple spears appeared around her, visible to Asher. Asher dashed towards her, not giving her time to react. "Descend." Alyssa waved her hand to the right. So she took the advice. Asher felt the gravity around him shift to his left. It was one of the moves that Alyssa learned in her 2nd year, but she had already mastered it. In his previous life, Alyssa didn't spend much GP on the Great Library as it was extremely costly for those who weren't rankers or year representatives. But this time, Asher had advised her to visit the Great Library if she wanted to learn more about gravity magic. But this is not enough, Asher thought as he used mirror steps to change his position. Alyssa quickly scanned her surroundings, seeing Asher, who had moved outside the altered gravity zone. Ice bind, Alyssa commanded as various spikes emerged around Asher. Asher quickly backstepped as Alyssa increased the distance between them. She knew it would be over if Asher got close to her, but she wasn't finished yet. Asher saw a large needle-like structure forming above Alyssa. Alyssa's hair started to flutter as a light shade of violet energy materialized around her arms. Pierce, Alyssa gestured downward, and the ice needle darted straight for Asher. This will be useless, Asher declared as he adjusted the grip on his sword. And Alyssa recognized the skill. She had seen him perform a similar attack on monsters enough that it was etched in her memory. Swift strike, Asher's sword met the ice needle, but just as they were about to touch. Shatter, Alyssa used gravity energy to fragment the needle into multiple small shards. Spiral attack, countless shards sprung from the ground, assaulting Asher. Contemporary romance. Alyssa was so focused that she forgot that such an attack could have severely injured any other student. Mere steps, Asher used a burst of mana to change his location. And as Alyssa watched him disappear, the gap in their ranks became apparent. Asher's speed was significantly higher than what Alyssa could currently handle. Lighten, Alyssa lightened the gravity around her body. Then a claw-like structure began to form around her hands. She looked up and saw Asher approaching her at a great speed. Descend. She used gravity magic to slow down Asher just before his next mere step. And she herself entered that gravity zone. Change shift. As she stepped in, she altered the direction of her gravity toward Asher while doing the same with the gravity zone around her. This allowed her to drastically increase her acceleration, boosting her speed to that of AD plus rank hunter for a brief moment. The ice claws reaching toward Asher's neck halted as Asher used his sword defensively once again. Alyssa's eyes locked onto the black blade breaking through her ice claws, and she was now within Asher's range. She had taken a gamble, but now she was utterly defenseless. But at the last moment, the violet energy around Alyssa amplified, and its shade darkened. Spin, Alyssa murmured as Asher felt the ground beneath him disappear. Alyssa had closed the distance enough to utilize her current most potent gravity magic. She altered the entire gravity around them, causing Asher to lose his footing, which is crucial for mere steps. But she was still AD rank mage and was already pushing herself. Encase, she touched Asher, and he could feel ice beginning to encase his body. It's not enough, Alyssa knew that Asher could still attack her. So she manipulated gravity to pressure Asher further, immobilizing him. Bam! Suddenly, both crashed into the ceiling as Alyssa lost control over her gravity. But at the last moment, Asher grabbed her hand, pulled her closer, and saved her from crashing into the wall. Alyssa regained control of her magic and altered the gravity as she slowly floated both down. My bad. I lost control, Alyssa admitted as a mild headache formed from her use of gravity magic. Asher used his aura to melt the ice encasing his body. Do you want to continue? Asher asked. No. Thanks for your time, Alyssa responded. I will leave for now. After expressing her gratitude, Alyssa wore her mask once again before exiting the training facility. Asher watched Alyssa leave his floor and went back to his room. He reflected on the duel he had with her. She is improving, Asher thought. We could have had a proper duel if she was C rank as well. Alyssa entered her room on the 8th floor and looked at the blank canvas before her. He is weird, Alyssa mused as she picked up her brushes. She hadn't noticed it when she first met him, but she could feel it from the moment she was cured. Is it his eyes? She questioned herself. His eyes resembled hers when she looked in the mirror. She started to paint on the canvas, attempting to capture what she felt during that duel. 2 days had passed since Asher and Alyssa's spa, and right now, Elsa was giving a special lecture to Class 1. So, as you know, We will be forming 2 teams in the new structure of World Academy, Elsa said as she looked at the class. One of them will be a class team consisting of 3 students, and the other will be a hunting team consisting of 6 to 10 students for dungeon exploration that will start for the first-year students as well, she said. But we have already decided on the students in the class team, Elsa said. Her words upset some students, as they had thought they could form teams with their friends. Except for one, we were told to form teams while matching your talents, ranks, and overall scores, Elsa said as she looked at Asher. D+ rank, already, she was surprised that he had reached D+ rank. But it's good that he realizes that ranking up is not that easy. She could sense that Asher's mana core was D+ rank. Even though D+ rank was shocking, it would have shocked many people if Asher had reached C rank. This kind of talent would not only have attracted the world's attention, but people who despised the Greville family would have become even more worried seeing such a monstrous talent grow. Asher noticed Elsa's gaze and was currently using his mana conceal skill to make it seem like he was still D+ rank. He was ready to show his C rank, but it wasn't bad for now if he could hide it. Each professor from class 1 to 5 will choose one team representing the whole class, Elsa said. From our class, it will be Asher Greville, Alyssa Astaria, and Vanessa Baker, Elsa announced to the team. In class exclusive events, or matches that will happen in the future, you will work in these teams, Elsa said. But the most important teams will be hunter teams, and this team will participate in all the dungeon exploration, and we are giving you a choice to form your own teams, Elsa said. Hunter teams will be formed for your midterm examination only, so choose carefully who you pick in your team, Elsa said. Previously, we would only make a random team of 4 people for first-year students, but we have decided to change it into what an actual hunter team is like, Elsa explained. As you know, exploring dungeons means your life is on the line, and your team is crucial to that exploration. A decently built team can even outperform a group of talented people who were grouped together without much thought, Elsa said. As most of you will be working in guilds or the associations of your choice, we are making sure you understand the importance of working in a team from year 1, Elsa said. You can have people from other classes. Of course, we will not impose any restrictions if you want to build a team with high-ranking students only, but Elsa tapped the bracelet on her wrist. Be prepared, as we will increase the difficulty according to the team you build. Elsa looked at the faces of the students, contemporary romance. Most of them planned to group with high-ranking students to score better, but doing so had its own issues. But you will be given an individual rating depending on your performance in your team, Elsa reminded them. Each hunter team will be given assignments to complete, and if their team were better, their assignment would become even more difficult. But that didn't mean completing them would give them the same grades. Your own individual performance on your team mattered a lot in such cases. Ads by Pub Future. Your midterm examinations will be team-based. An end-term examination will be based on individual duels, Elsa explained the format for the first year. So score as much as you can on your teams if you want to boost your rankings when you go to your second year, Elsa concluded the class. That's all. Form your hunter teams and tell the group leader to send me your team details, Elsa said as she concluded her class. She left the class as the students started talking with each other. Asher stood up from his seat and left the class. Do you want to join our team? Alyssa asked Vanessa through the metallic mask she wore to cover half of her face. She remembered that Asher had given her the choice to invite Vanessa if she wanted to. He had already told her about the potential people joining the team. Yeah, but what about the others? Vanessa asked, as she knew not many people would join due to Alyssa's reputation. Alyssa brought out her ID bracelet and tapped on it to show the list of people that Asher had told her about. These two make sense, but why him? Vanessa said as she looked at Sam's name. Well, he wasn't half bad in the dual class, she muttered. Some hours later, While in class 5, Sam Allister was talking with Matthew. So you will join Kevin Whitehart's team? Sam asked with a bored look on his face. Did Leonard Tervian tell you to join his team? Sam asked, knowing Matthew had joined the Blood faction already. I don't have much of a choice, and he is rank 2, Matthew replied. They had become surprisingly good friends, but Sam didn't want Matthew to join Kevin's team. But knowing that Matthew had joined the World Academy with World Association's special recommendation, he knew that refusing Leonard was not good for him. Jack, who was in the Blood faction, didn't tell him to join Kevin's team because he knew the chances of the Princess of Halcyon being on Kevin's team were high. What team are you joining? Matthew asked. I have joined one already, and you will probably lose to us, Sam replied as he shrugged his shoulders. Matthew squinted his eyes as having rank 2 Kevin with him meant that his chances of winning were very high unless Sam was in a particular person's team. Wait, did you join Asher Greville? Matthew asked. Yes, and don't tell anyone, Sam reminded him. At first, he wanted to refuse Asher, but he decided to join them when he remembered Asher's promise. Knowing his circumstances, Sam knew that Asher would probably not make it difficult for him. Kalwa's gala is coming as well, Sam thought. What are you doing, Kevin? Elena asked as she saw Kevin looking through his phone. They were sitting in the lobby area, waiting for someone to arrive. I was trying to contact my father, but the head butler told me he was busy, Kevin replied. Maybe it's because of the Kalwa's gala, Elena replied as she remembered that Camden Whiteheart was one of the 7 heads of the Kalwa's gala. Did you need something from your father? Elena asked. It was nothing much. I just wanted to confirm certain things, Kevin replied with a smile. He couldn't tell her he had accepted Leonard Tervian's offer, but he wanted to consult about it with his father. Kevin looked back at his phone, but Elena kept noticing Kevin's behavior. It was not hard for her to notice that he was trying to dodge her question. Usually, he would tell me everything, Elena thought. She kept thinking about what might have been bothering Kevin, but their conversation stopped when she saw a black-haired girl with golden-colored eyes walking toward them. Sorry to keep you waiting, Licia said as she sat on one of the couches. No, we arrived just now as well, Elena smiled. So you wanted to talk about something? Licia asked. Yeah, we were forming a hunter teams. So we wanted to see if you would join us, Elena said as she looked at Licia. It's not a bad offer. I don't mind it, Licia replied after thinking for a second. Who is on your team? Licia asked. It will be me, Elena, Eva, Matthew, and you for now, Kevin replied, putting his phone away. And the 6th person? Licia asked. Although her father had told her to avoid children from elite families, she could not completely avoid them. It will be my cousin, Rhea, mostly, Elena replied as she avoided mentioning Sam's name. She knew there were issues between the royal family of Halcyon and Duke Alistair, and having an Alistair on her team might make things a bit uncomfortable for her. Seems good. I don't mind it, Licia replied. She's smart, Licia thought in her head. Elena had already researched enough about the Halcyon family and how to have Licia on her side. While all this was happening, Asher was going towards the Great Library. He had visited this library countless times in his previous life, but most of his visits concerned his research. But this time, he was going for the special spell and runic sections of the Great Library. Asher entered the vast building with multiple giant pillars at the entrance, and on each of those pillars, the names of scholars from history were present.